So this Defenders, am I right?
Oh yeah. Oh, what do you think about it?
Marvel.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, anyway, welcome one and all to whatever
To
this
this.
is.
It'll
Uh,
be something eventually.
hopefully, this is our review of the Defenders, Marvel's latest Netflix series about Marvel.
Yes, the
Yes.
entirety of Marvel.
No, but for real. It's the culmination of everything the Netflix series have been working towards. It brings together all four of our beloved solo series characters, as well as all supporting side characters, uh,
There's a lot of them.
except the Punisher. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
this is basically the
So we
Defenders of Netflix. I mean, the Avengers of Netflix.
yeah. We
Yeah,
got Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron and the many
the
other
other one.
people that
Just
have to be around.
yes, that's right. The Devil of Hell's Kitchen, the permanently pissed PI, the unbreakable, unbeatable, unbelievably
Big man.
big man, um, and Mr. Kung Fu, the Karate Kid. Yeah,
It's like quite the team up.
quite the team up. Quite the team up indeed. Except not really.
Nope.
No. They don't
It
really
was
even team up
pretty
for
simple.
like what is it? Halfway through the
Like
second episode.
yeah, they kind of meet each other. Well, I mean, they kind of paired up.
Yeah, two of them.
Yeah.
They each like pair
Yeah,
up in like halfway through the second episode, and then
and then by
um
the third, they're kind of one big group.
yeah, by the third
But
they're actually all together, and Stick's there because gotta have some stick.
I love me some stick.
Some stick. But
Uh,
that presents
I
like
don't
the
know.
first issue with this series that I think we noticed was the pacing. We're 2 episodes in,
Yeah,
and well, we're 1.5 episodes in, and you know they still haven't met at all, and it's going real slow, and it does that a lot, to be honest. The plot kind of drags its heels, and it's
yeah. The thing is, even when they are all together, they have this common enemy, and even still, they're not really a team because Jessica Jones walks out briefly.
yeah, but
So
that's
even
keeping in with their
as
character.
they're
So
not a team. Yeah, I know, but they weren't really a team at that point. They still weren't the defenders.
mm.
They were just people that happened to bump into each other at that point.
No, no, they're the Friends of Claire Temple fan club, or or whatever. They're just like everyone knows Claire. Although, strangely, she didn't have as much to do with bringing them together as everyone would have thought, because despite being in every single person's series, she only brings together Iron Fist and Luke Cage, and then they accidentally bump into Daredevil and Jessica Jones. But no, I'm fine with them not being a cohesive team, like at all in this series. That's whatever. That, you know, these are strangers with such varying personalities, and they need like they need shit to get real serious for them to realize
Yeah.
each of them individually is outmatched by this situation, and they need the others. So that's fine. But it's the fact that they didn't share any screen time at all till the third episode, really, and that's kind of it. Like it either end of this show is boring. In a show of only 8 episodes, only 4 are good. It's the middle 4.
Yeah, there was kind of like a climax and then a disappointing downfall of action near the end. I
Yeah.
mean, it was action packed towards the end, but it didn't really match how it pun intended explosive the ending should have been.
How's that a pun?
The explosion.
I wish I wasn't an idiot. See, when you said, pun intended, you were going to say something defenders or defend, but clearly I'm just an idiot.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, they barely defended anything.
And no one ever says defenders either, which is, I guess that's fine. That's whatever, but, I would have liked that.
Yeah, but to be fair, though, they only actually called the Daredevil once, and that was in a newspaper in his individual series. Otherwise, he was the devil.
No, they call him Daredevil a few times in the second series, I think.
Not that I recall, but even still, they mostly called him the Devil of Hell's Kitchen. So, people just get their names from anywhere.
Yeesh. But, yeah. So, there were those middle 4 episodes, and they were, of course, really good. But...
I mean, I wouldn't say really good. They were entertaining, but...
They had their flaws as well, but, like, they were the best of the bunch, and they were, like... Those 4 were more in keeping with what I expected. But, like, it got to a point where, like, there were only those last 2 episodes left. And I was like, they're starting to go down a path for, like, a very particular ending to this series. And I can't see how they'll fix it. And then they didn't. Like, they get to the building, and Colleen brings the explosives. This is spoiler-filled, by the way, just in case that wasn't obvious.
It's a bit late.
We'll put a spoiler warning at the beginning, whatever. But Colleen brings the explosives, and you could see where this was going, obviously, because the architect planned to blow up the building, and now they've got his blueprints and his explosives, so they're going to bring this building down. Major flaw with that is, you don't need to do that. And when they were debating it in the lobby, I'm surprised no one of common sense just, spoke up, like Daredevil or Jessica Jones or even Luke Cage.
No, Luke
Cage was the voice of reason, actually.
Yeah, he opposed the entire thing, but it didn't take much to convince him, to be fair.
Yeah, it didn't take a great deal to convince him, and it's probably because he didn't suggest the much smarter alternative, which is, let's just beat them up and take them. Let's just beat them up and, like, arrest them. Like we should be doing with everyone.
No, I mean, yeah, that's the legal route.
Yeah, but that's what all these shows, especially Daredevil, it's always been like a conflict of, I could go and just punch their head right off, but then I'm as bad as they are.
Yeah,
it's the conflict of vigilantism.
As much as I didn't like the way Daredevil suddenly was okay with murder, the whole concept of this was to end the hand. That just arresting them wasn't gonna do that. I mean, how many times do criminals actually stop just because they've been to prison?
That's the point of comics. And even still, like, they could have just found a way to, subtly murder them without murdering them. Like, what happens with all of Iron Man's villains.
No, I don't know. I feel like murder was the best route, but I feel like it would have been more of a debate, a more struggle with morals about it. And 2, not in this way. A much more interesting and easier way to go about it.
Yeah, but even still, no one suggested that idea either. Which is the strange thing, because obviously we know as an audience that arresting comic book criminals does not work. They will always get out. That's the thing with all villains, really. Like, if you lock them away and don't get rid of them permanently, they will come back in some way, shape, or form to haunt the hero. But the heroes don't know that.
Well, I feel like they would have learnt that.
Why would they learn some lessons from real life and why would they learn some lessons and not others? Why would they learn that arresting people isn't gonna work?
Well,
and yet they didn't know not to like, you know, do anything about finishing off the Hand.
Well, the Punisher escaped prison.
Yeah, but the Punisher's got his own series, so.
Yeah, but my point is, they know firsthand that just because they're in prison, it doesn't mean shit.
Okay, the system doesn't work, and that's fine, and maybe they do know that. Maybe they've learned that lesson. But they also then didn't make any attempt to kill them or anything like that. They just kind of let them scurry off. The ones that weren't killed by people that weren't the defenders. That is. Because Stick decapitated one of them. Elektra finished a few of the others, I think. Colleen killed Bakudo, who, let's be honest, is just Zoolander with a sword. He is. He's Derek Zoolander. He always does that. Oh, I'm going to capture you, Colleen. He's like, join me in the ninja school, Colleen. In that dopey fucking Ben Stiller voice. But whatever. That's a personal thing with that character.
Here's a shout out to Ben Stiller to be the next Marvel
villain. Maybe he'll get a bigger role than Sigourney Weaver was saddled with.
Oh god, that was terrible.
Yeah. See, they brought in Sigourney Weaver because, you know, she's a big name and everything, and a great actress, and, you know, we'll give her this really deep, complex villain role, and she's the top dog. She's the best finger in the hand. She's like, you know, the index finger, the pointing finger of the hand. Yes. The leader, the big kahuna. And in a way she wasn't. Like, in title,
in
yes.
a way, entirely she wasn't. She was not.
Yeah, she was leader in name only. Like, they referred to her as the leader, but they didn't obey her. They outright tried to overthrow her in the past. They say that.
They did obey her, but I feel like they didn't really have a choice in that. They were very reluctant.
They were so reluctant. They did stage multiple coups, apparently, throughout history. She's never proven to be the best of them. There's nothing about her that ever makes you think, that's why she's the leader. There's a bit where one of them confronts her, and she's like, you should have fucking not came alone. This was a shit idea. Meaning, you know, kind of implying that she's about to get up and kick the shit out of him. But we never see that. We never even see a little bit of that. We see a little small glimpse that she knows a basic martial arts. She knows a little kung fu, and that's it. Yeah. Really. She doesn't even have, like, weird, vague hand resurrection powers either. She doesn't have the force like Madame Gao. She can't punch Luke Cage in the face and actually hurt him like what's that guy's name? The other Asian one that's not Gao. I don't mean to be racist, but like his character didn't stand out enough for me to know his name.
Yeah, no, that's the thing about the Hand is, unless you were Alexandra or Gao, you are not significant enough to.
Yeah, it's only that Bakudo has appeared in multiple, in Iron Fist series even.
Yeah.
That I can remember his name. That and his, Ben Stiller voice. But the others, like, some of them have got like interesting abilities that they never explain, but I don't know their names, and I don't know whether it's a combination of like them being forgettable characters or just having really unpronounceable names.
Probably a mix.
I think with the other Asian guy and the African warlord guy, it's definitely a combination of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Shall we talk about Elektra?
Sure, why not?
My favorite character.
Yes. I mean, she kind of had to be in it. It was kind of
Yeah,
a main point, but she was not a great character at
like
all.
maybe I'm just cold-hearted and dead inside, like
I
she technically is.
I can confirm that you are. But
Thanks. Um, but the the romance between her and Matt, like obviously, there's a lot of freaky sexual tension and stuff. She seems like she'd show you a good time and stuff, like they had in college in Daredevil season 2 in the flashbacks, with the great hair. But she is a shit person. She is a shit human being, and I know that's that's more or less comic accurate. But what does Daredevil see in her, really?
an ass. That's
Because she
she
more or
has
less she more or less gets her memories back, doesn't she? Like
well
when she kills Sigourney Weaver, but she's still that same shitty person.
yeah. See
She's
that
just like, I'm leader of the hen now.
yeah. See the thing is, before she was the Black Sky, a weapon. She was Elektra, Matt's friend, ex-girlfriend, current girlfriend, whatever. All these different things at once, and she was still a terrible woman with murderous instincts. She's not a good person, no matter what state she was in.
Yeah. And the fact that poor Karen is being sidelined for her
Yeah,
when Daredevil has noticed Daredevil has two famous love interests in the comics, Karen Page and Elektra.
yeah.
I mean, there's
I
there's
mean,
more obviously because he's a real player, but those are the main two. I guess Elektra is probably more prominent in terms of comic love interest for him, but
yeah. I feel like the love interest is significant. The whole Romeo and Juliet, one person from each side of
yeah, the
the
side of being a relatively decent human being and being a murderous piece of shit.
well opposing sides nonetheless. Um,
Yes.
but so I get that that's relevant, but for a smart guy, Matt Murdock is not aware of how bad she is.
Mhm.
And I get the I love this person, so I'm gonna ignore every flaw possible. But he's admitted that he knows how terrible she is
Yeah.
because
When she
you know
first, go ahead.
yeah after she tried to get him to murder someone and then carried on insisting that they murder. He was kind of like, I'm not doing that. That's awful. No.
Mhm. He had a much stronger resolve, even back when he was a horny college student.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, there's one thing ignoring your morals because you love a person, but I don't know. I feel like it went too far.
Mm. Yeah. Good costume though.
Yes.
I like that costume. That's about as close to the comics as you'll get, because they've made an effort in this to show that these people need body armor,
Yeah.
and Elektra's costume is just like a bit of red tablecloth, and it's like half a tablecloth. There's not much
Good enough.
coverage, no protection. So I'm glad that it stuck to the comics, but it also stuck to this universe, this gritty, realistic, everyone gets beaten up all the time universe, where you do need protection from being stabbed a lot.
Yeah.
Not that it did him much good in season 2 of Daredevil, but whatever. But yeah, that final bit where Daredevil sacrifices himself for Elektra and
You're using
stuff.
sacrifice very loosely here.
Yeah, sacrifice usually implies that they give something, but it's the end goal is to get something or to accomplish something. Like, you know, it's a noble bloody sacrifice. They're giving their life away for the greater good, as they say on Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
In the movie Hot Fuzz. But this was not for the greater good. This was for a chance at saving Elektra. Elektra's a piece of shit, and even if he'd managed to convince her back to her regular old before being murdered self, she was still a piece of fucking work who murdered people. So, and he does eventually convince her to not be the leader of the Hand anymore, but it's too little too late. And it's like, what were you expecting? The others went up the lift. If you're even 2 minutes slower than that, you're dead. You're never getting out of the blast range in time. So there's no point.
Maybe
you could have just knocked her out and carried her.
He was just hoping for a quick blowjob before everything exploded.
He was like, you know, just one for the road. Just. Yeah, they should have just knocked her out and took her. Or better yet, not write themselves into that fucking corner or hole, as it were, whereby they can only get out through one way, and the building's about to explode because reasons. They didn't need to blow up that building. I know we already went over this, but they didn't need to. All they needed to do was defeat the Hand. They didn't need to blow up that perfectly good building. And why did the Hand have such a big building?
Yeah, that just draws attention.
Yeah, it's like,
that's the last thing you need.
We'll get this fancy state-of-the-art skyscraper built by this architect that isn't in our pocket and will definitely, you know, squeal on us or take issue with what the fuck we're doing down here. All they needed was a warehouse.
Yeah.
I mean, I get maybe it was in, like, the center of town or whatever. It's probably prime real estate, so they needed to keep up some kind of expectations. But you didn't need a building that big or that fancy.
Well, it was very tall.
It was very tall. Maybe, to be honest, it was for a shell company, though, wasn't it? It was for, like, the Midland Circle company.
Still.
I suppose it needed to pass as some kind of uptown business.
Still doesn't need to be that tall.
Yeah, but whatever. They didn't need to blow it up. Is the main issue. Like, that accomplished nothing.
Yeah.
I guess it filled in the hole, but too little, too late.
Yeah.
And another thing, what was at the bottom of that hole? As they were building up to it, they seemed pretty bloody certain that what was on the other side of this door was, you know, was the substance. Like, this was the means of them getting the substance that they need so much. So, naturally, having read some Iron Fist comics, I can't remember whether it's the Immortal Iron Fist or Iron Fist the Living Weapon or something, but there's a run of comics where Hydra and the Hand and the Steel Serpent all team up to basically use this thing called the Randall Gate to open a doorway to Kunlun and not have to wait the 10, 15 years or whatever it is for the city to cycle back around to our earthly plane. Now, I thought this door underneath New York was going to be a mystical gateway to Kunlun.
Oh, that was like the reasonable.
Which?
That was the reasonable expectation.
Yeah, that was a reasonable expectation because it's like they were exiled from Kunlun, which is where the substance is, the stuff for immortality. They knew there was some behind this door. Makes perfect bloody sense, and it would be comic accurate, or at least inspired by the comics, if this mystic doorway, only opened by an Iron Fist, led to Kunlun. No, it was a safety deposit box full of dragon bones.
I mean, that's where they got the substance from, it seemed. But...
Yeah, lovely bloody immortal dragon bone marrow. Yummy, yummy. Sprinkle that on your soup.
Num num. But, I don't know, it seemed a bit anticlimax for what was behind the door.
Yeah. And And I think they said the earthquake was a result of them digging or whatever this huge hole. That doesn't make a great deal of sense, but whatever. And the city was going to fall into the hole if they removed the dragon skeleton. Like, that's what they said. They said the city was going to die. The city was going to fall. And, you know, it's just a city and stuff because we're the Hand and we hate New York and all other cities and whatever. But it's like,
yeah,
there's no way you can extract all that. And it sinks the entire city at all. But even if that were the case, why would you do it? How would you do it without sinking the city on top of you and your men? And therefore trapping all the substance you've just mined? And if you destroy the entire city of New York, like, you make a lot of money out of New York and your heroin and stuff and all this other shady dealings that the Hand has got going on. It's not a bad place. I mean, well, it is. It's a terrible place, obviously, because there's
full of crime.
There's 4 whole TV series of it being a shithole. But contrary to what Matt Murdock believes.
Yeah. I mean, the whole motivation for the show seems up and down, mixed.
Yeah.
Not very pointless because, you know, sometimes it mentions the war, that's why they need the black sky, you know, as a soldier and a weapon. But then they're kind of like, oh, we just need the substance, that's all. You know.
And this war that Stick kept alluding to was obviously, it was the war between the Hand and the Chaste, 2 ancient organizations at, you know, that are, you know, at war with each other. So, like, they don't like each other and they've been fighting for centuries. But Stick at one point proclaims in the Defenders, I'm the last of the Chaste.
Yeah.
Meaning,
it's over.
When he died, there was no Chaste. And it's very difficult, I find at least, to have a war with only one side.
I mean, you know, you can fight whatever you want, I guess, but...
You can fight your own shadow if you want to, but, like, that's mostly a inner war.
Yeah.
An internal conflict, but...
This entire war scenario was pretty pointless for the Defenders.
Yeah.
And I get that they needed the substance regardless, because apparently they used the last of it on resurrecting Elektra.
The smallest possible woman.
But,
How did she use up the last of the substance? If they used the last of it on her, that means they only had enough for one. Does being the black sky make you take extra substance? I doubt it. She's the tiniest person.
I mean, I don't know how they manage their lives, but I'm pretty sure if you notice you're getting pretty low on something you need desperately, you go and get more before you run out.
Yeah, to me, that makes me think that they treated their substance as like batteries or something. So they'd go to the drawer, they'd open it, and they'd be like, "Oh shit, that was the last battery. I've got to bloody go down to the shop now and like." This is the thing that's been keeping you alive for centuries, way past your sell-by date. And you've only now just thought to, like, you know, make the big push and get some more.
Yeah. And I get that it was under the ground. It takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
they apparently needed Iron Fist, but they should have started this a long time ago. It was a big mission. They had the hole in Daredevil, so that was obviously the start of it. But, I don't know, I feel like there was an easier way, a quicker way, one that made it seem less stupid, the fact that they ran out.
The real question is, why didn't they just go back to Kunlun?
Yeah, that's my point. It could have been easier.
The place opens every 10 or 15 years or whatever, and they heard about Iron Fist coming back. And obviously they used to live there, so they know when it opens.
Yeah,
they've got a pretty good idea. Why didn't they just wait at the fucking gate?
Yeah.
Till it opened?
Also, how many times have they died to run out? Because if it opens every 10 years, you just take you don't even need a lot, but say you take a lot of it. That should last you 10 years. How many times are you gonna die in those 10 years to need to be resurrected?
Well, it's for all the foot soldiers and stuff like that. But it's like if you saw yourself running low, you'd be like, maybe not give your average ninja some of them. Maybe just start to reserve this stuff for the inner circle, the cabal, the fingers of the hand.
They're not great soldiers if they're dying a lot.
Yeah,
also,
I mean, like, they're meant to be these stealthy ninjas.
Yeah, and they're obviously not as good as a let's say a business. If they can't even recruit more people to replace the dead ones, and they're like, oh, we're just gonna have to resurrect them. You know, apparently, are they supposed to be training people from young ages? Where are all those people?
That's an Iron Fist.
Okay, but still, like, why aren't they here to help?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we should just as a precursor to this. I've seen all the Marvel Netflix series.
And I'm a loser.
Spoops McDoops over there has only seen Daredevil's season 1 and 2 and the Defenders because we binge watched all of them over the last week.
Yeah, it was kind of a race to see enough to watch this in time, but didn't get round to the others. But
yeah, I kind of made it a big deal for you to watch Daredevil because obviously Elektra dies at the end of season 2 and is back in season 1 of the Defenders. So I thought that might be a massive spoiler for Daredevil.
Well, in Daredevil, you learn about the hand, Elektra, stick. You know, it pretty much covers the things you need to know in terms of the villains for the Defenders. But
yeah,
I know the hand are in the others also. I'm not sure to what extent.
They're in Iron Fist and that's it.
Okay, well, they're in Iron Fist, so watching Iron Fist would have taught you about them as well, but I don't think Elektra was in that, was she?
No, Elektra wasn't in there. Bakudo was, though.
So, yeah, Daredevil seemed like a good place to start. But...
yeah. But, yeah. Should we say something nice about it?
No. No, it wasn't too bad. I mean, I heard a lot of bad stuff about Iron Fist, but he wasn't too bad in the Defenders.
Like, I enjoyed Iron Fist, the Netflix series, and as much as I don't think this is a perfect characterization of him, he's more or less a big man-child with Kung Fu, but to me, I always kind of assumed that they would change there. Like, he's going to obviously mature and stuff because, I mean, they tell you exactly why he's this way in Iron Fist. They're like, he was raised by monks from the age of 10 or something like that, so he's more or less just a child in terms of real-world knowledge. The only thing he's learned in the past 10, 15 years or whatever it is how to fight or how to be beaten up. That's all they do, really. Like, it says multiple times, even in Defenders, they just kick the shit out of him for a decade or so.
Well, I think the Defenders is definitely where he matures.
Yeah, people call him out on his shit. Like, the Luke Cage especially is like, you can fight this more than one way, you've got money and whatever. And he's like, that's a good point. I mean, he then proceeds to do a stupid job at that, but whatever, he's learning.
Yeah.
He's progressing as a character and stuff, and I think that was always the goal. To make it, for him to get there. I don't think he's as complete and as well-rounded as Daredevil or the others.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Even though I haven't seen Iron Fist, based on things I've heard about him, and obviously being a big man-child, apparently, this was a great way for him to get some character development. And although maybe the others didn't develop as much, this revolved a lot around him, his childhood, his future. So, Danny Rand definitely became a bigger character for Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Marvel Netflix at least throughout the Defenders.
Yeah.
So yeah, even though the first season might have been terrible, this next one might be pretty good.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for. I think now that they know each other and they're more team-like, I think there can be crossover in the solo series, but then when season 2 of the Defenders comes around, I think Danny can be more grown up. I think he can learn to fight better because in the comics, he is the best martial artist in the Marvel Universe. He's the world's best martial artist. So
I mean, the Defenders was full of martial arts.
the Defenders was full of them, but like people who are fans of the comic character Iron Fist are like, why can he not beat up these hand ninjas much more easily than any of the others? And it's just because he's a man-child. And they keep stating it, but the elders in Kunlun kept him in the dark. Like, he got the Iron Fist and whatever, and I know he kind of left not long after that, but they really didn't want to fill him in on a lot of stuff, and I think there was a lot more techniques and stuff, and not to spoil Iron Fist too much, but there have been stronger Iron Fists than he currently is.
No, I
So
can't make up that.
it's a work in progress thing. Like, he's gonna get much better at fighting to the point where he can take on all 3 Defenders, and I'd say he did a pretty good job of it before. Like, he is fighting them off and stuff, and obviously the Iron Fist is still treated as, you know, the big gun, and he can only do it like the once, and then eats a load of Chinese food, and stuff like that, and he has to wait and stuff. But I think as he progresses more, he'll get better at fighting, better at using the Iron Fist, get over his superpowered erectile dysfunction, because that's what this is.
Yeah.
Really, like, there's a lot of times where he tries to summon the fist and he's like, oh come on, it normally works. I promise. Like, it's a bit embarrassing, but whatever. He'll get better,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I
he
think
will.
that's good.
Okay,
Because everyone
so,
else is more or less at the peak of their own abilities, and that
Yeah.
makes sense because they don't have a lot of abilities.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
Daredevil's thing is to have these extra senses. If he wasn't already as good as he is now, he'd be dead. Jessica
Yeah.
Jones just has vague super strength. You know, she can leap a tall building and whatever. Or hold an elevator.
and
You know, like,
Luke Cage just is.
Luke Cage is more or less the same, but bulletproof as well. There's not much room for improvement there. Those powers don't get any stronger.
Luke Cage just is, though. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't have to focus. He just stands there and takes bullets, and that's about it.
Yeah,
I mean-
you should watch his Netflix series. It explains
no,
why.
I know it goes deeper
Oh,
than
yeah,
that, but
yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have to do anything for
Yeah.
his powers.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, their fighting style is more or less just fucking swipe at the enemy and stuff, and hope you hit them. Because, like, if they land a punch, then enemy's basically down
Yeah.
for the count. So they don't need to learn to fight any better than they haven't needed to. They might
Yeah.
think about some martial arts lessons now, but but other than that, there's no way for them really to improve. So
Yeah.
it's only really Danny that has a long way to climb.
I mean, I think he'll get there.
He'll get there, like, providing they don't cancel his Netflix series after season 2 because of the fan backlash. But whatever.
No, I think
like
he was a good character in this.
Hmm.
I mean, I hope that doesn't really make his individual series more disappointing for me. because I went in with higher hopes. But
No, I think the internet's wrong. This Iron Fist's good.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Quote me on that internet. No.
It's
Oh
official.
dear. It's a good job no one's gonna watch this.
Hey. Maybe.
Maybe.
The other irregulars will watch it. That's enough.
That's enough. That's all we need.
That's like 20 million views with the amount of people in the irregulars at this point. But
More or less.
but
Yeah. We need to say positive things, because
positive things. Okay.
Because I've got an idea for a rating in mind, and it's not going to match the review that we've just given.
Okay, you know what I like? The sidekicks, the women.
Yeah, the support characters, the side characters, they all come together and they meet up and.
Colleen, Misty, Claire, and Karen, especially, and then a little bit of Foggy,
Mhm.
and Trish. But all women, basically.
All the women. I think you're just playing favoritism to the vagina folk, but whatever.
No, okay, no, but they were.
No, I'm just joking. They were really good.
They were like the only ones that questioned anything, and they were kind of.
Yeah.
Well, no, okay, maybe not like as much as a normal person would, but these have experienced this all before. And even Claire is like, I said I wasn't going to get involved in this crap.
Yeah.
And
even Claire's just at her wit's end. That's probably why she wasn't the main catalyst for just introducing all four at once or something like that, because she's like, I'm done with this shit. I know all these people, but I don't want to be in their lives. Except Luke, because he's got the muscles.
See, the difference with Claire, the difference between Matt Murdock and Luke Cage is that they basically have the same job, but Luke's safer. And Claire was basically like, you know what? I'm not doing your healthcare anymore. You gotta pay for this shit.
That's the real thing. Matt Murdock bloody practically had her out of house and home with paying for bandages and medical care and all that, patching him up every night in Daredevil season 1.
Yeah.
So that's why she likes Luke Cage. It's much cheaper. It's much safer. Like, he's much more likely to walk back through that door after a long night of beating people up.
Yeah. And you
instead
know what?
of fall over through it.
That's fair. I mean,
that's fair.
Her biggest concern with Matt was that
he's just a guy.
Well, yeah, but she's gonna get too invested, and then he's gonna die, and that's the end of the relationship. That's how she saw it.
Yeah. It's why a lot of people don't want small pets.
But Luke is definitely more unlikely to die in kind of fighting accident.
I mean, he's obviously not immortal. He's not safe, like from a lot of different attacks. But
if he gets shot in the head,
he gets shot in the head. Unless it's like a high caliber gun, it's not going to really affect him.
Yeah. Whereas
Daredevil's going to take one of those and be dead.
Well, he took a bullet to the head, even with his armor on, and he was out of it for a while.
Oh yeah, it nearly took his powers away.
Yeah, he was.
Speaking of which, that ending, that really anonymous kind of ending where he's definitely crushed to death, and at the bottom of that hole, but then wakes up with nuns. With no question as to how he got there.
Yeah.
There's a theory that he's going to be able to see.
No.
Like, there's going to be some weird mystic shit, or there's going to be something involved here, but, like, he's going to get his sight back, because it's happened in the comics before.
I don't like that, though. His whole thing is that he's blind, and he's a good
he's not going to stay seeing. Like, he's...
Yeah, but even if it's for one episode, even just one episode of him seeing, that changes his whole thing.
How?
Well, because he's the blind superhero, the vigilante,
It changes his thing for all of the time that he is able to see, but once he goes back to being blind, he's like, oh.
Yeah, but
back to normal.
No, it's not going to be like, oh, well, back to being blind. It'll change his character, at least for a little bit. He'll be,
And be like, do you know what? I really miss seeing.
Yeah.
I kind of, forgotten a lot of my memories of being able to see, but now they're fresh.
Also, Matt feels sorry for himself a lot. So if he sees and then it goes away again, he'll be like, "Oh, my sight.
He's not gonna move around and stuff
uh."
like that. Terrible shit happens to Matt Murdock. That's kind of the point of
But
Matt Murdock,
he
is that
feels
he's got
sorry
this
for
horrible
himself.
look.
He feels sorry for himself all the time.
He does drink a lot, but
I mean, I like him and I like the series. He's a good vigilante, but he does feel sorry for himself all the time. He puts his problems on other people and they're like, I don't want to talk about it. Basically,
well,
like some kind of mopey teenager.
yeah, he keeps his secrets and stuff like that. He doesn't tell people what's wrong, but he certainly kind of lets them know,
Yeah,
like
and
by not
so
hiding it well enough.
if he gets his sight back, it'll just be that all over again.
Hmm. You're right. What a whiny bitch. No, I'm just. I'm glad he's dead. No. No, I don't know. Whatever. I'm sure it'll be interesting what they'll do in season 3 with why the fuck he's alive. Maybe they'll do Shadowland, which is a comic in which Daredevil becomes the leader of the Hand and also kind of a demon.
Yeah, I saw something about that.
I think I told you about that, but
You did, but I also saw something else about the evolution of Daredevil, and basically explained that he was
a demon.
essentially possessed at one point.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like it's a good premise, but we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting premise, but then that also goes against a rule that I now want to establish with these Netflix things, which is no more Hand.
Yes, please.
I'm done with them.
Yeah.
Like, Shadowland would be cool and whatever, but like, basically you can't do it unless it's in the Defenders TV series because it's more or less a group event. It's everyone else convincing Matt Murdock not to be possessed anymore, and then beating it out of him. So you can't really do it unless it's another season of the Defenders. But no more Hand. I've had enough of them. Daredevil can fight Bullseye, and he has no affiliation with the Hand. If anything, he can be hired by Kingpin, who's going to probably break out of prison in season 3. And Iron Fist can learn about the other mystical cities, and more stuff about Kunlun. Maybe he can do that tournament between the living weapons from the comics. But either way, no more Hand. I've had enough of them. I know Gao's still alive, and so is that other Asian fella, probably, who fell down the lift shaft. But, because you don't explicitly see him die, just in pain. But it doesn't matter. That was a waste. They should have just either got rid of them all, like, in one way or another, or just not.
Yeah.
I'm done with them.
Yep, that's it. Hopefully.
That's it. Also, we didn't talk about my favorite discrepancy: Stick's Hand.
Oh God. Okay.
I'm surprised we left this out. Do you want to take the lead on this?
Okay. So basically, at one point, Stick is a hostage, and shit starts going down. He's got to fight, defend himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he cuts off his hand.
As you do.
Like normal people do.
Mm-hmm.
But
very little hesitation.
So he now doesn't have a hand, and the effects are so bad that somehow his cut off hand makes his arm longer.
Yeah.
Afterwards, there's like a scene where he's standing up and he's walking away. You can see his arms by his side, and his bandaged up hand goes far past his other one.
Yeah.
His perfectly fine hand.
It's as if they said to him, it's as if they pulled Scott Glenn aside, the actor who plays Stick, and they said to him, alright, okay, so, we don't have the budget really to be green screening your stump hand all the time, because that'll cost us a lot of money. Now, we did really well on the practical effects in the scene where we cut your hand off. That was quite a realistic bleeding stump. Before you scurried out that vent one-handed. But basically the budget's ran dry now, so rather than like make a fist and try and make your hand as small as possible so that it looks less like there's a hand attached to your wrist, just fucking extend your hand, your fingers, as long as you can, so that your hand looks as noticeably there as possible, so that ultimately the arm with the stump hand is longer than the arm with the regular hand. Just fucking, I don't know, do you know what, maybe put a false hand on and just have that dangling, because we clearly don't know what the fuck we're doing with this hand malarkey. We'll just hope no one will notice, even though we'll put it in several blatant shots.
Yeah, the thing is though, that was bad enough on its own, but spoiler alert.
What do you mean spoiler? I will pass this point.
Yeah, but Misty loses her arm later on.
Yeah.
And that looks fine. That looks gone.
That's legit. That's like well, she doesn't actually lose it in real life, obviously, the actress, but that looks really good. Like, they cut that arm off and it's a bloody stump, and then you see her later in the hospital bed and it's a stump. Like,
yeah, it looks gone.
It looks gone. And realistically, she probably just has her actual real arm inside the hospital gown, and then sticking out of the sleeve is just a prop stump or whatever. Doesn't matter how it was done. It looks real good. Yeah. And they don't even have to worry about that bloody longer arm malarkey, because she's gonna get a robot arm like in the comics. Like, more or less they implied that, because Danny Rand's rich and owns a hospital. So they can, like, you know, maybe buy some stock tech, like in the comics, and give her a nice prosthetic arm that just happens to look exactly like a real arm in size and proportion, and you don't even have to worry about it then. She just wears a glove.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that stupid fucking long arm malarkey.
At most, if she takes off a glove covering her new arm, it takes a little bit of makeup to make it look either robotic or prosthetic.
Mm-hmm.
But why was Stick's arm longer? There was no effort whatsoever in making it look shorter.
There will be a picture on the screen at this point, so don't you worry. You can see what's happened. Even if you watched the series and didn't notice this will now bother you. Don't worry, you can feel the frustration that we feel.
You're welcome. We've ruined it all.
Yes.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an example of the minor things that most people would ignore, but it just bugged me too much.
Yeah.
To let go.
Like, the rest of the stuff we've been talking about is like huge flaws with the writing and the pacing and stuff like that. But this would be like in a Cinema Sins video, and this would earn a total of 1 sin, and yet we're just like giving it a full 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's the worst part of the entire thing.
Yes, that was the worst. The more I think about it, the more it angers me. But so we'll move on from this, maybe to try and get something positive.
Positive. Scroll through the notes. Positive.
There's nothing, is there? There's nothing in the notes. There was only mention that thing about Iron Fist.
Okay, positive. As someone who hasn't seen the others, with nothing to compare to other than the bigger Marvel things like Iron Man and the Avengers and stuff like that, it was entertaining. I wasn't completely shut off. I was willing to watch it through. And considering all the bad things, you could say that's a positive.
Yes. Yeah.
But looking at it objectively, besides that
it was disappointing.
Yeah, it was disappointing.
It was quite disappointing. I've been kind of formulating a rating system for this show in
Oh.
my mind,
Yeah.
and it's going to be in the form of the nice-ometer or the nice-o-meter.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Get ready for the nice-o-meter.
Yes, I'm going to have to try and make this now in Photoshop, so look forward to that, whatever's on the screen.
It'll just be like one spazzy clip art arrow spinning around on the screen or something.
Yes. And I think maybe we'll leave just a brief written review and a picture of whatever it ranks in the niceometer on the website, just because we really need things on the website. For those of you that don't know, the irregulars.co.uk or .com or what is it? Just type the Irregulars Hub into Google,
okay,
basically.
link in the description.
Link in the description and maybe on the screen if I remember.
In big flashy lights.
Big flashy light. Don't make me edit this.
Go to this website. Do it now.
But yeah.
Go to that place. Type it into the Googles.
Yeah, type it into the Googles and be happy. So, the niceometer, I think we should have a 1 to 5 rating system.
Okay.
Because I can't think of enough subtitles for 1 to 10.
Okay.
And so it's more kind of vague.
Okay. 1 to 5 it is.
1 to 5 it is.
Anyone watching this is discovering that we have no clue what we're doing at this point.
Yes. Yeah. It's okay. No one's watching.
Oh, you have no faith.
Yes.
But yeah. Anyway, so the niceometer, where are we at?
So we have at the very top, we have 5 out of 5, which is, of course, oh fuck, I've forgotten.
Good job.
Look, it'll be on the screen if I remember, but just yeah, what would you give this show out of 1 out of 5? Or 1 to 5 even.
Yeah,
do you want me to go first?
No, it's good. Considering all the flaws, and the very, very few positives, probably like a high 2, maybe a low 3.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. I'm so torn between a 2 and a 3 that it makes me want to have this out of 10, but I'm not that creative. So 2 out of 5 on the niceometer, which is a not too nice.
Not too nice.
Yes, just under the nice bar.
Okay.
Point, which is of course 3, an even middle 3.
Yeah. So it's a overall not too nice.
Not too nice. Just underneath that would be not very nice at all. Very bloody not nice.
Yeah. But we'll figure out this properly later. But
yeah.
So 3 is a nice, a solid nice.
4 is a quite nice.
Pretty darn nice.
And then 5 is a
very nice.
The nicest thing.
A very, very nice.
Very, very nice. You know, as much as this is something that we say in Skype calls behind videos and stuff like that, I imagine this is really annoying now for anyone watching.
Nice.
Just
Nice.
because it doesn't mean anything to them. But but whatever, there's no one watching, it's fine. So
we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, it's our show, we'll do it. We'll maybe do more reviews. We plan to do weekly movie reviews. Because we see 2 movies a week.
Oh, fancy.
Oh, yes, look at us go. It's like we're really wealthy, but it's not really.
It's like very cool.
Yeah.
But anyway. So we'll try and watch whatever good comes out. Let you know.
Yep. buddy, you'll be
it-
the first to hear about it, except not.
Except not really, because it'll take like 10 years to release the video.
Yes.
But yeah. Okay.
Okay. Are we ready to leave now?
Yes, this was a very nice review.
That it was. That it was. Well, anyway, goodbye.